Welcome. I'm Melissa Blinn, founder of Epic Love, embodied leadership, somatic therapist, and psychedelic facilitator. I'm here to support women who are done leading from survival and really truly understanding the difference between feeling safe to expand and receive versus always pushing, forcing, and trying to prove your way. Here we talk about all things nervous system, somatic healing, psychedelic work, and feminine embodied leadership. And what does it actually take to build a capacity, have clarity, grow your wealth, and more importantly, cultivate relationships that don't come at the cost of your health. If you're ready to move beyond mindset and talk all things embodied self leadership, you're in the right place. With it being April, we are diving all things into stress. Why is that? Well, stress is actually April is International Stress Awareness Month. And this month, I'm going to be talking all the things about the survival strategy you as a woman maybe never even realized that you were playing out. So first and foremost, let's talk about what is a survival strategy and how does it ultimately wreak havoc on your stress levels? Well, survival strategies are adaptations of the system that come on from a very young age. And there are 5 key survival strategies that women have adapted to over the years that really has disconnected them from feeling safe in their emotional bodies, which pushed them into the force, the prove, the grind, and the hustle. And the first survival strategy that women have developed is overfunctioning. This is a pattern of, I'll handle it, I'll take care of it, I'll get it done. And what we see about this adaptation and survival strategy is that over time, it comes with the cost of exhaustion, resentment, and the inability to receive support. The second survival strategy that many women that are operating from survival develop over time is hyper independence. I don't need anyone. That was me for most of my life. And a lot of that had come from masculine wounding, feeling unsafe with the masculine. And so therefore I developed a survival strategy of becoming hyper independent and hyper responsible because I didn't trust men and I didn't feel safe. Now, let me be clear. This cost me isolation. This cost me emotional disconnection. And it also blocked me from true intimacy of receiving. This is a survival strategy too, that many women that are in leadership roles are also running the show. Another survival strategy that women are running and they're unfamiliar with is perfectionism. It has to be right in order for me to show up. What this ultimately means is that you making it pretty perfect, as I like to call it, princess perfect. You hyperanalyze everything. You run over things multiple times. And if it's not exactly perfect, then you don't follow through. And this ultimately costs you procrastination. It causes you internal pressure. And it ultimately feels like I'm never enough. I'm never enough. Another protector strategy that women deploy that they're unaware of is a people pleaser / fawning. This is where I'm going to do everything to keep the peace because I read the room. I make sure to make everybody happy around me. I adapt, I soften, I accommodate. And this ultimately means that conflict feels threatening. It means that I prioritize having harmony over truth. And the cost is a loss of self-worth, blurred boundaries, and burnout from overgiving. Hi, me too. I know that survival strategy well. And last but not least, a survival strategy that women are deploying that they didn't even know is constant productivity. I can't slow down, is what they say. You stay busy, you're always moving, you're always doing because rest feels uncomfortable to the system. Because slowing down actually creates space, and space is where unprocessed emotions reside. So you keep going and you stay busy so you never have to feel it. The cost is chronic stress. The cost is hormonal dysfunction and disruption. And more importantly, a disconnection from your body. These 5 survival strategies that women don't even realize that they're running ultimately amplify the stress in their life, whether it's mental stress, whether it's financial stress, whether it's emotional stress, whether it's even relational stress. Because again, if one of those 5 survival strategies are at play, you might be in a mismatch of polarity in a relationship. You might be hyper masculine. You might be more in the do. You might struggle with asking for support or asking to receive. So you constantly step into that survival strategy, but all the while underneath, you're burned out, you're resentful, and it leads to chronic dysfunction in the relationship. Now, let me be clear. This pattern, these survival patterns in particularly, these survival patterns, they were developed in our imprinting in adolescent years. What I mean by that is that earlier on in our childhood, in our imprinting years, it ultimately meant that love might have been tied to being helpful or even getting good grades or high achieving. Emotions might have been overwhelming for you. They might have been unpredictable. They might have been unsafe. I know for me, growing up with an addict parent, that was the case for me. I never knew on any given day what side of my dad I was ever going to get. You learn to read the room. You're always scanning and you adapt like a chameleon to your environment to fit in, to attempt to feel safe, but all the while you stifle your inner truth. You might have been praised for being responsible, mature, the strong one. You might have been the one that took care of your siblings. Hell, you might have been the one that actually took care of one, if not both of your parents. I know that was the case for me. I became a child of parentification at a very young age. So all of these adaptations that occur from our environment, as we get older, as we start to hit perimenopause and menopause, the once robust progesterone and estrogen diminish. We actually start to see where we're not fucking free. We actually start to see where we have minimized or abandoned our truth. Our body starts to become more online. It starts to show us where we've attempted to keep the peace. So our bodies are so resilient. But the truth is, these survival strategies that you keep deploying unconsciously are ultimately adding and compounding to the stress in your life. And more importantly, it is disconnecting you from your feminine wisdom. And this ultimately over time changes how your body functions. Meaning like you learn to carry everything. You put others first. You measured worth by what you did. And so for your ability to actually soften, feel safe to ask for what you want and what you need, to set effective boundaries and to speak your truth becomes very, very, very far and few. So therefore, you deploy that survival strategy in different circumstances because that is what's kept you safe thus far. So my invitation for you this month is get clear. What are these patterns costing you? What are they costing you? They might be costing you a relationship. They might be costing you your health. They might be costing you from actually going after what you want in your life. What are these survival strategies or these adaptations that compound to an immense amount of stress? What are they costing you? So in order for us to truly start to soften these protector parts, we have to know that there's another way to lead. Lead our lives, lead the way that we show up, lead the way that we're vulnerable when we're honest. When we say this relationship just doesn't work anymore. When we say, My needs are not getting met. And we actually just pause and we stop feeling guilty. When we start to make decisions from grounded inner knowing versus urgency, when we start to lead our lives without carrying everybody else's stank or bullshit, and when we start to receive without questioning our self-worth, the game starts to change. Now, I want to be clear that awareness is not enough. We're having a conscious conversation on this video blog, but the truth is you can't talk your way into softening these survival strategies. This is a nervous system patterning that led to survival. So over time, we want to teach your system how to build safety in the body, how to create clarity from your heart versus survival, and how to stand behind decisions without caving or giving in. And the truth is, no one is coming to rescue you. There is no knight in shining armor. There is no one that is coming to rescue you but you. And again, with it being International Stress Awareness Month, I want to come back full circle. What are these survival strategies costing you? And are you ready to become the matriarch of your own life? Are you ready to be the embodied, mature feminine in clarity that you know you deserve? I hope to see you April 11th, 2026. No one's coming. This is where Lisa Chastain and myself dive deep in talking all things about no one is coming to save you. No one's coming to save you financially. No one's going to come to save you emotionally. No one is coming. But imagine if you were to learn and embody these vital skills to become your own matriarch. That's when you start to diffuse the survival strategies, because you know that no one is actually ever going to reject you or abandon you. You ultimately know every time that you don't self-advocate, you abandon yourself. You also start to realize in the rooms that you're constantly staying in, you're only rejecting yourself if you're not respecting your self-worth. Join me April 11th. No one's coming. And thank you so much for tapping into this amazing video blog, the survival strategies that you might have not known that were running your life.